Canelo Alvarez is without a doubt, pound for pound, one of the best boxers in the world just now. And just like any of the greatest fighters, their training, preparation and routine is a key part of their development as much as fight night is. In this video today, I'll be taking a look at the Mexican's training routines, including his boxing drills, strength and conditioning, strategy and nutrition. But real quick, I just wanted to say a huge thank you to the sponsor of today's video, Pulseroll. Pulseroll is a muscle recovery equipment company that have created and designed the next generation of percussion and vibration recovery technology to help give you the best chance to relieve those sore muscles after a hard training session. I have an exclusive discount with 15% off Pulseroll products when you use the code BOXINGLIFE15. Make sure to check out the description below if this interests you. Now, let's get right back into the video. Now, before getting into the detail of some of the things Alvarez likes to work on, it's important to identify his actual training routine. I've got this information through looking at multiple publications and videos online, including Boxing News, GQ, and World Boxing News. The training routine I'm about to reveal to you was made to Boxing News on the lead up to his fight with Golovkin. I'm sure this has changed over the years and depending on what fight comes up. Now remember, Canelo is a full-time fighter, so if you're looking to implement some of this within your own routine, you can definitely take some of this, but Canelo definitely lives the boxer lifestyle. So in the morning, Canelo will get up first thing and go for his morning run between 6 AM and 6:30, except on Sundays. Between 6:30 and 1 PM, he'll have his breakfast, rest, and just prepare for the gym. Between 2 and 5, Monday, Wednesday, and Fridays, he'll be doing strength and conditioning, obviously his boxing, skill drills, skipping rope, mitt work with Eddie Reynoso. And then on Tuesday, Thursdays, and Saturdays, he'll be mainly focused on sparring with the occasional boxing drills on the side. And then in the evenings, 6:30, he'll have his post-workout meal, recovery, strategy with Eddie Reynoso, and also sleep. And just like any great champion, they need their rest days, and that comes on a Sunday. Now, as you can tell from all this, the Mexican is truly dedicated to his craft. Canelo really likes to keep a strict routine while in the middle of his training camps. I can imagine probably towards the end of his camp, his sparring sessions will drop off to help reduce the chance of injury or even fatigue. Cardio exercises. Now, as I mentioned, Canelo will usually go on an early morning run. And like any of the great champions, running is definitely a fundamental part of that routine, to help with overall cardio and also burn fat loss in the mornings. By getting up at 6 AM, Canelo starts the day on a positive front, helping him to maintain or lose weight and also improve his stamina. Alvarez will not just run in the morning for cardio work, he'll also mix this up sometimes by combining with explosive interval sprints. When you consider Canelo's boxing style, it makes sense that he combines this with his running routine to imitate the same burst of energy he would use when he throws those powerful punch combinations. You will also even see Canelo sometimes obviously doing skipping just before his boxing session as a warm-up, or when he's trying to cut weight on the exercise bike just to keep himself moving. Boxing drills. Now, I don't know if you're like me, but watching Canelo doing boxing drills is one of the most satisfying things to watch. The way he uses punch combinations, defensive movement, it's no wonder he's perfect when it comes to fight night. Now obviously Canelo has certainly perfected these skills over the years with his lead trainer, Eddie Reynoso. That has been key in his growth as a fighter. From looking at clips online over the years, Canelo will do a lot of drills that will involve head and waist movement and obviously working on power punches. By watching the footage of Canelo's training sessions, it's clear Reynoso likes to get Alvarez to work on using creative combinations through repetition and with finishing power shots to the head or body. As I mentioned, these drills are done in a repetitive nature for Canelo, so it's embroiled into his boxing style. Additionally, he won't have to think too much and will obviously create that muscle memory with his movement when the situation arises in the ring to use it. For example, reaction drills, you'll often see Canelo use the Cobra bag, slipping punches, which we've also seen in the ring. This also includes things like mitt work to work on counter punches as well, and even using the double M bag, which will help work on things like his reflexes and punch timing. In terms of the power shots, we'll often see Canelo use this on the heavy bag, including double left hooks, or even the uppercut bag, which you'll often see Canelo use to create openings for that left liver shot. Eddie Reynoso also likes to use the punch shield as well, to create head movement for Canelo while also focusing on punch power. We've seen this over the years in so many occasions where Canelo uses his head movement and finishing off with a power shot, always making sure he's one step ahead. That is what I really like about Canelo's boxing training. He's always thinking one step ahead after he punches, which all the great champions will do. Sparring. Now, like with any fighter, sparring is an essential part of their regime to give them the most authentic experience before the fight night. This is no different for Canelo Alvarez, who spars at least 3 times a week in camp. This obviously may vary depending on the upcoming opponent and the fighter's physical state, but by sparring a lot, it helps Canelo to be a lot more comfortable come fight night. Canelo's boxing style is also quite evasive for the most part. Even when he's pressure fighting, he takes a lot of shots in the gloves and arms and is also using head and waist movement. Furthermore, he also uses his defensive skills to slip, roll and even use footwork to dodge punches. Eddie Reynoso also helps Canelo spar from guys from different weights and styles, making him able to adapt to whatever upcoming opponent he has. In an interview with World Boxing News, he confirms that he adapts his sparring partners depending on who he is facing. Alvarez said, "With sparring, we usually go based on someone who is similar to the fighter in order to have the same style, the height, and the weight. That's usually what we focus on, to get somebody like that." Here's some footage of Canelo sparring heavyweight Frank Sanchez before he faced Callum Smith, who was a similar size and stood at 6'3". Strength and conditioning. Canelo is always in fantastic shape when it comes to weigh-in day. Now, as much as all the boxing skill drills and sparring will help him prepare, Canelo's strength and conditioning is a huge part of his overall conditioning to get him in the best shape possible. Having jumped around the weight divisions from light middleweight all the way up to light heavyweight, Canelo has had to adapt to each weight category he is in. In terms of the exercises Alvarez will do, it will mainly involve exercises that will require explosiveness for his whole body. So here are some of the things you'll use. He'll do medicine ball exercises to help the explosiveness of punches, press-ups to help with the upper body strength and punch power, squats to increase the explosiveness and overall body strength, neck strength exercises to help reduce the chance of knockouts, and even shadow boxing with weights to help increase his punch power and hand speed. As you can see from those points, Canelo puts a huge amount of work to condition himself to get in the best shape possible. I've noticed when Canelo does a lot of these exercises, he does it as part of a circuit. This obviously imitates what it's like in the ring, where you're constantly having to work for those 3 minutes with no rest. Diet and recovery. As a lot of people will know, sometimes it's outside the gym that is just as important. So having a protein high diet is key for your overall recovery so you can continually perform in the gym. In an interview with GQ, Alvarez's typical day will look like this. For breakfast, he'll have egg whites with ham and orange juice after his morning run. For lunch, he'll have something like protein dish with some very nutrient vegetables including carrots, squash, broccoli, cauliflower. And then obviously he'll have snacks in between. Things like apples, cucumbers, grapes, or jicama, which is a Mexican turnip. And then for dinner, apparently, he'll have a protein shake with no carbs. Now, I don't know how much to make of all that. I'm sure as Canelo has moved around the weights, this has probably changed in terms of his intake, especially when he's moved up to things like super middleweight and even light heavyweight. I'm sure he's probably taken more calories as he's moved around the weights. But I got this information just before his second fight with Golovkin, so this is when he was down at middleweight, probably trying to cut down to weight at that stage in his career. In terms of other recovery methods Alvarez will use, he's been seen to use ice baths quite often after his training. This helps to reduce inflammation and increase the way blood and other fluids like lactic acid flow through the body. Therefore, Canelo is able to recover quicker from each training session. Additionally, the Mexican has also been seen to use expensive cryotherapy as a way for even quicker muscle recovery. Strategy. Now, when it comes to boxing, the mental aspect of the sport is just as important as the physical. And when you think of Canelo, he has to be one of the smartest fighters when it comes to the ring in terms of how he approaches it and how he sets up traps while in the ring. Quite often, Canelo will sit down with Eddie Reynoso and his other coaches to strategize around how they will defeat the opposition. One of the great things about Alvarez is that he's continually developed his boxing style throughout the years. One being that quick combination counterpuncher to now that intense pressure fighter we've seen more recently. Undoubtedly, this is down to the fact he and his team like to adapt to each upcoming opponent. In fact, in an interview with World Boxing News in lead up to his fight with Golovkin, he stated, "Usually training is almost always the same, but the strategy is different because every fighter is different. The strategy depends on the fight. While you're preparing for a fight, you don't know what happens once you're in the ring." Interestingly enough, in the second fight with Golovkin, Canelo changed from that counter-punching boxing style to a more aggressive, typical Mexican pressure fighter style. Ironically, Golovkin even said to World Boxing News before the rematch, "I will not change my style. Canelo is the one who needs to change if he wants to win." And well, we know the history of that one. Final thoughts. Canelo is a brilliant example to follow for anyone who wants to become a better boxer or live that fighter lifestyle. I think he uses defensive drills combined with those power shot drills to tremendous effect, and it's what makes him one of the most dangerous fighters out there. I love the fact Reynoso adds so much repetition and discipline into these training sessions. If you're looking for an example to follow, I definitely recommend taking up some of Canelo's training regime. Equally, if you're a boxing coach, some of these drills will really help develop fighters to be more proactive with their defense while being more dangerous in their offense. And that wraps up this video, guys. Let me know in the comments below what you think about Canelo's training regime. I'd love to hear your thoughts. If there's another boxer's training routine you'd want me to cover like this, comment below and let me know. As always, guys, thanks so much for the support. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to hit that like button. If you're new here, please subscribe. As always, I'll see you in the next one. Thanks for watching.